So where'd you leave this HT? I'm on the summit right now.
I think it's on the ground somewhere over there, like on that little video I sent you where you can see my backpack there on the ground. I think it's over there, but hey, maybe it's not.
My friend Corey left his radio on top of a mountain last weekend, and that meant that I had to go bushwhack to the top of the same mountain this weekend. But then, like, what's Corey's radio doing at the top of a random mountain no one's ever heard of in the first place? And why does that mean I have to climb the same random mountain no one's ever heard of? West Twin Rocks is a 4,400-foot tall, partially exposed summit in the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest in southwest Washington. Receiving the full fury of all the weather and the intense sun exposure of late May in the Pacific Northwest, it's not certain how long a piece of sensitive electronic equipment could really last abandoned on a mountaintop. But it's a lot harder to prove something's not there than to prove that it is. Was Corey's radio really sitting in the elements on the mountaintop, or was this a wild goose chase, a fool's errand? Perhaps it fell out of his pocket somewhere. Maybe it's underneath the driver's seat in his 4Runner. However, we mustn't give up hope. Imagine summiting a mountain, basking in that accomplishment, only to learn with great dismay that you must summit it once again in short order. And that, my friends, is why I had to summit the mountain, because I would not wish that fate on any other person. Corey was ready to give up on his radio to allow it to perish in the elements on that obscure mountaintop, but I wasn't willing to let that happen. It was also a Saturday in May. I knew I wanted to climb up a soda summit, and all I needed was a pretense to drive me out into the woods. Corey's missing radio, while of little consequence to me, presented the ideal excuse to come and climb this particular, largely unknown summit in an obscure corner of Washington state. Pretense acquired, often the journey is the destination, and the Gifford-Pinchot itself, being a somewhat remote national forest about the size of Connecticut, is itself a worthy destination, even without a pretense. Some people who live within 50 linear miles of this place never see any of these sights and fly halfway around the world for scenery that's half as good. But before finding the missing electronics, I had to turn around because, well, the road was washed out. But even in the process of turning around, like everything on these back roads was far from a straightforward affair. I had to, of course, pick my way over and under every obstacle I'd encountered on the way in. And when I finally did manage to crawl out to the main road, I promptly took another wrong turn and went 3 miles out of my way before turning around again and finding yet another uncertain route back to the base of the target mountain. At least the scenery I encountered along the way was well worth it. Yeah, so this is the main approach point for the summit. It's just a wide spot in the road with a great view of Mount St. Helens. So hey, it could be worse. I'm gonna show you there's an old road grade that leads up the mountain over here that we'll be walking up. And I just happen to know, because I've already done this twice before, that leads up to a rock quarry. And then we'll have to do a bunch of bushwhacking after that. Like, this is not a summit I would have chosen to do again, except for, you know, I want to help out my friend because I'm such a great guy, right? So that's what we're going to do. Bushwhack up this summit is only about 500 vertical feet over about 1,500 linear feet. So while it's steep, it isn't long, but that does not make it easy. This is the wet side of the rain shadow, so these woods get a lot of moisture, and that means that I was pushing my way through young stands of bushy conifers, chest-high huckleberries, devil's club, and countless fallen logs. You can't count on your foothold anywhere you step in here, and I was constantly on the lookout for whatever animals might call this place home, who don't appreciate my presence, and the wild imagination in my mind were probably, lurking in every nook and cranny and crevice. The end of this bushwhack is the steepest, hardest part, and I started getting worried I might fail as I approached the summit block and had yet to see any sign of any radios lying on the ground up here. And there I stood on the summit, looking around at the almost 360-degree views, wondering if this journey had been a waste of time.
Corey, were you on the shorter rock that's like just barely north of the summit?
Oh man, I'm geographically challenged, so I know I was in the activation zone. There's two kind of rock formations there, and I was on the lower of the two.
Roger that. I think I see the formation. Okay, I'm gonna head over there. Well, looky here. Got me a FT60. Target acquired, I got it, Corey.
fine. That's a relief. Holy smokes! I thought maybe you were. If you didn't find it, I'd have been just kicking myself like, God, I'm an idiot. It probably is in my car or something. Anyway, I'm relieved that you found it just for that reason alone.
Oh yeah, you are as smart as you thought you were. Yeah, it's got the diamond ducky on it.
That's the one.
Yeah, you left it on too, so I can't test it. Well, primary mission accomplished. I found Corey's HT. It was sitting on the ground about where he said it was going to be, and he left it turned on, which any of you who have an FT60 know that is a classic FT60 volume knob turned on. Anyway, here it is. Hopefully it charges up for him. I haven't figured out how to get it back to him, but Corey is not far from me as the crow flies. If I just get behind the camera here and turn it around, I can actually show you which summit he's on. Not that it means a lot to you sitting at home, but hey, let's have fun anyway. So I turn the tripod around and he is right there. He is on Green Lookout Mountain, somewhere on the Green Lookout Mountain. I don't know where, but, well, I mean, I do know where. He's up on the summit of Green Lookout Mountain. But it'd be pretty funny if we could spot him. But anyway, Corey's over there.
Corey and I made arrangements over the radio for him to drive around and meet me at the bottom of my summit. But before I could start driving down the mountain to meet him, first I had to activate the summit. Activating the summit is what Corey was doing up here last week, and it's what he was doing over on the other mountain across the valley from me. This is for an amateur radio activity called Summits on the Air, which is a needlessly complicated hobby, a pretense to get out into the woods, you might say, where we bring small, lightweight radios up to summits and use various different communication modes, Morse code being my personal favorite, to make contact with people both nearby and all around the world, radio to radio. You climb a mountain, set up your radio, and just like dogs barking over the fence, you use it to tell other radio nerds, hey, I'm here. Except there's also a point scheme attached to it. This summit, for example, was worth 4 points. If you get 1,000 points, you get awarded the Soda Goat Award, which adds up to nothing except that you can say you got your Soda Goat Award. So I guess that's pretty cool. The farthest contact I made today was into New York State, but it's not unusual for me to make contacts into Japan, Australia, and New Zealand. But notwithstanding how far away places are or where they are, the number one rule is you have to make 4 two-way contacts, what we call QSOs, in order to qualify the summit, in order to get the points. In case you were wondering, I made 8 total QSOs in this activation. Anyhow, summit qualified, I was now ready to bushwhack back down the summit and get Corey's radio back to him.
Oh man, 3 hours.
Yeah, I picked up your litter.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
What a trip.
Yeah, I think the last time I did that summit, I remember thinking to myself, thank God I never have to do this one again. And yeah, now I remember why.
I thought I was going to head straight home, but today I learned that roads do in fact have destinations at both ends, and I managed to make the mistake of driving down the same washed out road from the other direction. Somehow I thought I'd be able to get back on that road. Tired people make poor choices.
Well, this is frustrating. So literally the road that I went down on the way here that I then had to turn back because there's a giant washout on it. I managed to, like, not even paying attention, I managed to come back and get it from the other side. So I went down the same wrong road. This is like, oh my gosh, I didn't even see it coming. I'm gonna show this to you. I gotta show you this washout. Like, there's no way. Here's the washout. I'll try to stabilize that. So that's the washout. And then this right here, somebody has made a detour. And I could probably do that with a spotter, but I don't have a spotter and I don't want to get stuck out here. So frustrating. Anyway, I could do that. I can't do this. This is so frustrating. But hey, look at this tree. This is a very old tree. There it goes, really high up. And it's pretty big around. Okay. All right, well, crisis averted. I got around that road and I'm back on the main gravel road, getting back to the highway, hopefully soon. And like every adventure, a little bit later than I anticipated. But we'll get there soon.